After US forces carried out a major strike in Venezuela and detained President Nicolás Maduro, shockwaves spread across Latin America. Soon after, US President Donald Trump issued fresh warnings, this time aimed at Colombia, Cuba and Mexico, threatening military action if they failed to comply with Washington's demands on security and drug trafficking. The comments revived long-standing fears of US intervention in the region and raised a key question. How strong are Latin America's militaries if tensions escalate? On paper, the military balance is clear. The United States has the most powerful armed forces in the world, and by a wide margin. Washington spends more on defense than the next 10 biggest military budgets combined. In 2025 alone, US military spending reached nearly $900 billion. By comparison, even the strongest Latin American militaries operate on a fraction of that scale. Brazil ranks highest in the region, followed by Mexico, Colombia, Venezuela, and Cuba. But all trail far behind the US in aircraft, naval power, armored vehicles, and advanced weapons systems. In a conventional war involving fighter jets, tanks, and warships, the US would hold overwhelming superiority. But conventional warfare tells only part of the story. Across Latin America, many countries have extensive paramilitary or irregular forces. Groups that don't operate like traditional armies, but can complicate any conflict. These forces rely on asymmetric tactics, blending into civilian populations, controlling territory informally, and avoiding direct confrontation with superior firepower. That makes them harder to defeat, but not stronger in a head-to-head fight. Cuba stands out for one reason: scale. The country maintains one of the world's largest paramilitary forces, with more than 1 million members. These include civilian militias and neighborhood defense groups designed to support the regular army during crises. The strategy is built around resistance and endurance, not power projection. It's meant to make invasion costly, not impossible. In Venezuela, pro-government armed civilian groups, often called colectivos, have played a role in enforcing political control. They are not formally part of the military, but are widely seen as tolerated or supported by the state. During unrest, they've acted as shock forces, intimidating opponents and maintaining order. While influential internally, they lack the equipment and coordination needed to counter a modern foreign military. Colombia has decades of experience with irregular warfare. Right-wing paramilitary groups emerged during the Cold War to fight leftist rebels. Though officially demobilized, many later resurfaced as criminal or neo-paramilitary networks, especially in rural regions. These groups are deeply entrenched, but fragmented, and geared toward internal conflict, not defending against an external superpower. Mexico presents a different challenge. Powerful drug cartels function like paramilitary forces, heavily armed, well-funded, and capable of controlling territory. Some were founded by former soldiers and possess military-grade weapons. But their objectives are criminal, not national defense. They weaken the state more than they protect it, and would not unite against an external military threat. US military involvement in Latin America is not new. From the banana wars of the early 20th century to Cold War interventions, Washington has repeatedly used force to shape outcomes in the region. While US leaders later pledged non-intervention, covert and overt operations continued, including the 1989 invasion of Panama. That history fuels deep mistrust, even when Latin American governments know they lack the power to resist militarily. No Latin American military could defeat the United States in a conventional conflict. Some could complicate an intervention, others could resist through irregular tactics. But none could match US firepower head-on. That's why most governments rely on diplomacy, regional alliances, and political pressure, not force, to push back against Washington. The real strength of Latin America lies not in its armies, but in avoiding a fight it cannot win.